What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 build video. Now shout out to the DoD, Disciples of Doom. And today's build video is going to be my immune to all skills build. It doesn't matter if it is a fire sticky, if it's a normal sticky, it doesn't matter if it's a mortar turret, stinger hive, seeker mines, you name it, it really doesn't matter. This thing is immune to all of them, and it brushes off mortar turrets and shrapnel traps like it's nothing. It's truly remarkable. It took me quite a bit to farm this, so I'll go ahead and put that disclosure out there. It did take me a little bit to farm this, and I'll explain to you exactly why. But don't take my word for it. Let me go ahead and show you me and some guys testing this out in both, dark zones, whether it be the invaded or non-invaded, really doesn't matter. It's all the same damages. But I went ahead and showed you guys what it is like in both kind of dark zones. That way you can see that these skills just won't touch me. In fact, the only way to get me down with a skill is if you throw shrapnel traps directly on my guy and they all go off at the exact same time. That's the only way. If the shrapnel traps are already on the ground and I walk through them, run through them, it doesn't matter. It's good to go. If mortar turrets are shooting me, they just brush off. It's actually quite comedic. But, alright, I'm done talking here. Watch the gameplay, enjoy yourself, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, support the channel by subscribing, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. But alright, let's go ahead and look at some Dark Zone footage of my immune to all skills build. Alright, we'll be right back. Peace.
The nearby agent has gone rogue. Rogue agent detected. Agent has become
He just wants to mess up our fun. It's not that good, huh? Bye-bye.
rogue
Alright,
agent
back to what we were doing.
Survived.
Alright, let me get to your
Agent
mortar.
eliminated.
Alright, here we go. Alright, mortar test. Yep, go for it. Nice. Look at that. That's a tier 6. Look at that. The oxys hurt, but oxys aren't, yeah, nice.
Rogue seeker mine detected.
Seeker mines, here we go. Ooh, and the mortar, nothing. Try the stinger hive. Alright, so it beats out the mortars, it beats out the seeker mines. The oxys hurt, but that's not really. Yeah, do stinger hive. Yeah. See how that works.
Rogue seeker hive detected.
Alright, keep throwing more stuff at me. Maybe do like a chem launcher. Here's some more seekers. Not bad. Nice. Yeah, it didn't do anything. Yeah.
Extraction helo. Almost within range.
So show how stupid OP that is.
Helo arrived.
It's a tier 6. Super nice. Oh, a firefly, nice.
Rogue firefly detected.
Nope. Try a riot foam. And then I guess whenever you guys are exhausted, just throw out the shrapnel trap and I'll die. Naughty. Well, that's that
Helo is
hazard.
headed back.
I'm more excited about the anti-mortar and the hazard. Oh, the shock trap?
Immediate medical assistance needed.
Yeah, that's shrapnel trapped. Yeah,
Agent
that's
killed.
the thing. Okay, so now we are in the invaded dark zone. And we are going to test this build out again. Alright, so I'm going to leave. Probably have you guys pop rogue.
You have left the group.
Fire
Rogue
away.
artillery turret
See how each
detected.
of those skills work again. There's the mortars,
Rogue seeker mine
pin
detected.
launchers, riot foam. Nothing.
Immediate medical
There it
assistance
is.
needed.
There it is.
Agent down.
Yeah, both of you
Agent
guys did
deceased.
1.8 million, and then Ozzy did 300,000. Nice.
Entering
not
safe
at all.
area.
I'm coming back out. Try it again.
Entering invaded dark zone.
Right here, throw a shrapnel trap, and then I'll just try to hit one of the explosions. Maybe if I don't hit them all at the same time.
Rogue shock trap detected.
Yeah, the shocks aren't doing anything. Oh, pop rogue. Okay, so if you throw the shrapnel trap on top of me, it's a one-hit kill. Now throw it to the side again. If I Oh yeah, I'll
Rogue
run straight.
Artificer Hive detected. Rogue artillery turret detected. Serious trauma detected.
Yeah, cool. Whatever. They can
Agent
rain in on our
incapacitated.
parade. But we
Agent
just tested
vital
that though,
signs,
so that's
0.
good. So I can run through explosive traps, shrapnel traps, but if you throw it directly on me, it's a one-hit kill. Alright, well now we know. Alright, now I hope you enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. You should have heard them. I'm sure you heard the gameplay, but they're shooting mortars, they're throwing seeker mines, they're hitting me with sticky bombs, and they're just like, what? What? Why is this not hitting you? They threw stinger hives on me, they put explosive builds on, nothing. The only thing that would kill me is if they threw shrapnel traps directly on my person, and then they all go off at the exact same time. Because for some reason that initial burst will kill anything. But if they just have the shrapnel trap on the ground, you saw that I would just walk through it or run through it. It didn't matter. They would barely even touch me. You didn't even notice. It's amazing. Let me think. Was there any skill that actually gave me trouble? Now that I think about it, yeah, the oxidizers. So I think after they shot 4 or 5 oxidizers at my feet, it started to melt me. But that was it. So unless I am sitting there AFK and allowing the enemy to just shoot oxidizers directly at me over and over and throw shrapnel traps on me, I'm not going to die. It's an amazing build, and let's stop talking about it and get into the build breakdown. So here it is. This is my immune to all skills build, including explosions. This will help you with anything. It's so much fun. Not only that, but if you run this with a team, say, I don't know, what's the normal team in the Dark Zone? You have some DPS and you have a healer, right? You would usually have a skill build. Assuming, because everyone and their mom likes to run skills. So, you know, let's assume instead of running a skill build, you run this. You run the anti-skill build. This, not only with the EMP sticky and the jammer pulse, this will help you get through any of their skills. The adrenaline rush from the backpack goes off every time you get close to even an enemy skill. So say shrapnel traps are on the ground and you are within 10 meters of those shrapnel traps, you will get all of your adrenaline rush procs right then and there. So you're already at bonus armor before you even get to the traps. Or say they throw, what's another one? Cluster seeker mines. So say the enemy throws cluster seeker mines and they get close to you. You're going to get all that bonus armor from the adrenaline rush before the seeker mines even touch you. Not only that, but you're basically immune to them. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But let's start off with the breakdown. All right. So at the top, we are running the Demolitionist Specialization. Reason being is it gives you burn resistance. Not a lot, but it gives you enough. Just looking at the numbers real quick for the whole immune to everything, I'm at 79.1% explosive resistance. 79.1. Now, as soon as I have everything maxed out, I should be at 80%. Now, as far as hazard, just base hazard protection, I'm at 89.1. However, I'm at 99.1 bleed resistance, so none of the bleed effects hit me at all. I am 100% burn resistance because I am running the Demolitionist Specialization. I'm 99.1% disrupt resistance, so all the disrupts don't hit me. And I'm at 99.1 ensnare resistance. So you saw I had my buddies shoot foam at me, they shot chem launchers at me, oxidizers at me, and the only thing that would hit me would be the oxidizers, but only if they stacked it like at my feet. But everything else, you're immune. Good to go. So those are your base numbers, so you can, copy and paste. That's why I'm using the Demolitionist, so that I get that 100% burn resistance without using a mod. Now, as far as the weapons go, you can use any weapon you want. This build is made to where it doesn't matter what weapons you want. You could run a sniper, you could run an SMG, AR, LMG, what have you. You could run the Regulus for all I care. But it doesn't change what this build does. This build is immune to all skills. Now, looking at the Pestilence. I'm using the Pestilence because no matter what build you are running, the damage over time with the Pestilence is immeasurable. It doesn't matter what other weapon you're using, there is nothing like getting a target on max stacks and then them freak out because they're dying. So that's my primary, the Pestilence. In my opinion, it's the best exotic in the game just because of the damage over time. Now, if you want to talk about, actual talents and what they do for you and how they benefit you, I would probably say the Scorpio might be the best. But as far as what we're talking about here with damage over time and just, exotics overall, Pestilence is definitely best in slot for LMGs, and it's right there top tier for all exotics. Now, looking at my Pestilence, I'm at 65.8k total damage. I have 0 reds on this build. I have 18 blues. That's 6 core attributes and 12 attributes. Now, as far as the attributes on my Pestilence, it is God rolled. So I have max LMG damage, max damage to targets out of cover, and max damage to armor. Now, as far as that talent, Plague of the Outcasts, this is the whole reason why this is one of the best weapons in the game. Because of the Plague of the Outcast. Hits apply a debuff, dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. But that can stack up to 50 times. So you can get upwards of 5,000% weapon damage over 10 seconds. Insane. Not only that, but whenever they die and have these ticks on them, it will then get transferred to an enemy within 25 meters. That's further than Eclipse Protocol. That's further than, Creeping Death. And this is Plague of the Outcast. So they're getting hit hard, especially if you have full stacks. Oh my god. Alright, so that's why I'm using the Pestilence for my primary. Secondary, I'm using the Vector. Reason being is my Pestilence is more for mid-range to long-range. You see the enemies down the street, or they're on the other side of the room, or, they're engaging with somebody, half a block away, what have you. You can whip out the Pestilence, and before they even know it, you have stacks on them, and they're already dying. Now, I use the Vector for when they get close and personal. When they get really up and close in my face, I use the Vector SBR 9mm. This is my favorite Vector in the game. Reason being is it comes with 53 in the mag size. So that right there is cake. You have a 1200 RPM weapon with a 53 round magazine. This thing will slap anybody. Now, it's sitting at 52k total damage, with max SMG damage, 16% crit chance, and max damage to armor. Now, this one comes with Optimist, and I put Optimist on there because of the high rate of fire. I get a majority of this talent active all the time, because as soon as you get through 10% of your ammo in your magazine, you get 3% damage, and it keeps scaling up while you're shooting the weapon. Now, 10% out of my magazine is what? 5 bullets? And with a 1200 round weapon, it shoots through that magazine really quick. So Optimus is pretty much the best one for me. Now, you could do measured, but I really am not a fan of that last half of the magazine. Yeah, it's just not for me. Measured is fun on other weapons, but for the Vector, in my opinion, Optimist is the way to go. And then for my sidearm, I'm using the D50. No real rhyme or reason. I can't use the Regulus, so I put on the D50. Why not? This one's at 309.3k total damage with max pistol damage and max damage to targets out of cover, and I rolled Ranger on it. So those are the weapons. Now remember, you can put any weapons you want in there. This build is not designed to have these weapons, permanently. You can switch them, swap them for anything you want, change the talents, it doesn't matter. All that matters is you have this build combination. So talking about the build combination, we are using 3 511, 1 Y'all Gear, and 2 Richter and Kaiser. Everything is rolled explosive resistance and hazard protection. Everything. So if it's not armor, has pro, or explosive resistance, it shouldn't be on the build. That's how I get my numbers up so high, and that's how I get basically immune to all those explosion skills on top of the normal skills. So I have the hazard protection to help me from all those status effects, and then I have the explosive resistance to help me from everything else they're throwing at me. It's pretty much a cakewalk. Now, the only other way you could make this build is switching out the 3 511 for, say, I don't know, 2 Seska and maybe a Gilligard. That way you get armor, crit chance, and hazard. I mean, that would work. But for me, RNG has not given me an explosive resistance, hazard protection, Seska drop. So 511 I found is way easier to get them to drop. So I would farm the 511 and then go for the Richter and Kaiser. And you can actually roll the Y'all Gear chest piece. So just go to the crafting bench. Alright, so doing a deep dive into the build. Starting with the mask. 511 mask. Now the 511 brand set bonuses I get from this build, I get health of 10%, I get 20% incoming repairs, and 10% hazard protection. The reason I am using 3 511 is for the hazard protection. That's why I was saying you could use 2 Seska and then maybe like a Gilligard to be a little bit more tanky, but it really doesn't matter. Now as far as these attributes, God rolled everything. So max armor, max explosive resistance, max hazard protection, and a max ensnare resistance mod. Using that mod guarantees that I am immune to all of those riot foams and what have you. Now going to the backpack, 511 backpack. Now this one is not fully optimized, but it'll get there. So this 511 backpack has 136k armor, so I need to optimize that. But I have max hazard protection, max explosive resistance, and a max bleed resistance mod. Now the bleed resistance mod helps me with all those stinger hives, seeker mines, mortar turrets, what have you. Anything that puts you on bleed, you are now fully immune. Not only that, but this backpack comes with the talent Adrenaline Rush. So whenever you are within 10 meters of an enemy, and that does count for enemy skills, you gain 20% bonus armor for 5 seconds. And that will stack up to 3 times. So you'll get up to 60% bonus armor. Now, for PvP, let's go to PvP. So in PvP, those numbers are cut in half. So now Adrenaline Rush will proc 10 meters within an enemy or an enemy skill, but now it only gives you 10% bonus armor per stack. So instead of 60% bonus, now you're only getting 30% bonus. So just remember that when you're doing Conflict or DZ, what have you, your Adrenaline Rush will only proc half as much bonus armor. Which is still fine. You did see in the Dark Zone in the gameplay that the skills still don't touch me. Alright, and your last piece of 511 are the gloves. Now these gloves are God rolled, max everything. So we have max armor, max hazard protection, and max explosive resistance. Now going to the knee pads, Richter and Kaiser. Now these are the hardest pieces to find in my opinion for this build. You have to get Richter and Kaiser to drop explosive resistance and hazard protection, and then roll the skill tier off for armor. So you have the max armor, max explosive resistance, and max hazard protection. Now you have to have 2 Richter and Kaiser like this. That way you can get the 2-piece brand set bonus of 10% explosive resistance. Now I also have 20% incoming repairs. So technically, with the 511 and the Richter and Kaiser, I have 40% incoming repairs on top of everything. So you could even change out one of these skills to instead heal yourself for even more. Now, for me personally, I'm using the Jammer Pulse and the EMP Sticky. That's just to like double down and just disrupt everything and everybody. But you could easily take off, the Jammer Pulse for, say, just a Chem heal or, anything of that sort, and you can just heal yourself while you're immune to all this stuff. Let's see. The next piece of Richter and Kaiser is the holster. Now this holster, same thing applies. You need hazard protection and explosive resistance. That way you could re-roll that skill tier off for armor. Now this one has max armor, max explosive resistance, and then 9.1 hazard. And then finally, the last piece of gear is your Y'all Gear chest piece. Now the Y'all Gear brand set bonus I get from this build is 10% hazard protection. Now this one comes with the talent Unbreakable. So if they break my armor, I'll get back 95% of it upon it being depleted. However, in PvP, that is different. So go to PvP stats, and you can see Unbreakable. When my armor is depleted, it will only repair half of it. So remember that when you're in conflict or the dark zone, you're only going to get half of your armor back with Unbreakable, and for that adrenaline rush for your backpack, you're only going to get half of the bonus armor as well. Now as far as the attributes for this chest piece, I have armor at 154k, max hazard, and 9.1 explosive resistance. Now I added a disrupt mod on 10%. Now to do that, I am now immune to disrupts, ensnare, bleed, and burn. And that is the build overall. So a quick recap, I have 3 511, one of them with the adrenaline rush. I have 1 piece of Y'all Gear with Unbreakable, and 2 pieces of Richter and Kaiser. Now all of them are rolled explosive resistance and hazard protection, and all of them have blue core attributes. Now looking at these skills, like I was saying, I am running the Jammer Pulse. This is just in case I'm not line of sight for my EMP Sticky. I could just pulse them and destroy all of their skills. Now for all of those that are in sight and I can just shoot the Sticky at their feet, here's the EMP Sticky. Both of these do a disrupt status effect, and they are perfect for, people with skills and skill builds. Now, like I was saying, you could switch the pulse off for, let's see, Chem Launcher, and you could go with a Reinforcer. Now, even with the Reinforcer, I'll let the stacks get up. There we go. So I could change the numbers, and I can show you exactly what it would look like. Alright, so here's how I would run it for the heals, because you do have a lot of incoming repairs, right? Now, for the incoming repairs, you can see right here for the PvP ally heal, I'm at, 117k. For me, repair over time and ally heal normally is 235k with 47k over time. And then that drops just about half for PvP. And that's what it would look like if you were running a tier 0 Reinforcer with this build. Alright, so let's finish up with the stats and then get you out of here. So these stats are going to be Pestilence. 65.8k weapon damage with 21.9k PvP weapon damage. 10% crit chance, 45 crit damage, and 85 headshot damage. Don't forget about the armor damage and the damage to targets out of cover. Now going down to the offensive tab, we have 10% all weapon damage bonus and 30% LMG weapon damage bonus. So every time I use the Pestilence, I have 40% weapon damage total. Let's see. Then we have Adrenaline Rush and Unbreakable for our gear talents. For the defensive tab, we have 1.8 million armor, 365k max health, with 40% incoming repairs, 79.1% explosive resistance, and 89.1 base hazard protection. Now remember, we're at 99% for the bleed resistance. We're at 99% for the disrupt resistance and ensnare resistance. And we're also at 100% for the burn resistance. Now, looking at I think that's it. Cool. So this is the immune to all skills build. Like I said, only in like crazy situations would you actually die. I had to sit still and have them just shoot me over and over with oxidizers and throw shrapnel traps on me to get me to die, because like you saw in the gameplay, nothing was hitting me. Their shrapnel traps weren't hitting me, the stinger hives weren't hitting me, sticky bombs, seeker mines, mortar turrets, none of it. Also had someone shooting a fire starter at me, wasn't doing any damage. We tried both the burn sticky and the explosive sticky. Neither one of them really did anything at all. We also tried the big seeker mine and cluster seeker mines, and again, nothing crazy at all. I had one of my buddies shoot all of his mortars at me, emptied the entire turret, and I still had armor. It was just taking away just the smallest amount of damage every time. Now, for this build, obviously, you would need to be running in a group. You're not going to be running this build solo. There's no reason for it. And there's no reason for you to really run this build in PvE that much either. This is mainly to go against other players with skill builds, with explosive builds, anything like that. This is that counter. So you go into the dark zone, you walk out the door, and then all of a sudden there's 3 mortar turrets, a stinger hive, and sticky bomb. Well, with this, you could actually survive going out the door and, whatever. But I would recommend running this with a team. That way you can complete that team synergy. If they have enemy skills or they're using heavy skill builds, or like say a healer, something like that, using the jammer pulse and the EMP sticky is probably the smartest thing you could do. That way, what you can do is you can be the first in line, you can see where their skills are. Not only can you disrupt them, you could shoot them with the EMP sticky, or you can just outlive them with your build and just kill whatever agent is using those skills. This is a great build to use in the dark zone, in conflict, what have you. The only thing I would say is if your enemy is not using skills like that, your enemy is not using mortars like that, you shouldn't really have to use this build. This is the build to counter all of those skill builds. That way you can, have a fighting chance. A lot of people, they complain, I get out of the spawn and all of a sudden there's a mortar. I get out of the spawn and there's a stinger hive. I get out of the spawn and I get stickied in the back, what have you. This build would help prevent that completely. It might show up on your screen that there's enemy skills, but they're not hurting you. You can just walk right past it and go to the enemy and fight. This usually makes the skill builds freak out because they can't do damage with their skills, and then they try to shoot you and you're too tanky for them to actually do damage. So that's the best thing in my opinion, is that you're really tanky, so all of those skill builds and tank builds aren't really going to have a fighting chance against you. The only thing would be DPS builds, and them all focus you at once. Because the skills are not going to hit you, people shooting marshmallows aren't going to hit you, you should be good to go. But yeah, that's about it. I like this build quite a bit. It took me a while, I'm telling you, it took me a while to grind these pieces. In a perfect world, I would want 2 Seska and then like say Gilligard. That way I could get some crit, some armor, and the hazard. But doing it this way, it's fine. I can, resort back to like a healing skill. That way I can get the incoming repairs. But besides that, I use the jammer and the EMP pulse, or the EMP sticky, and they work just fine. But alright, if you have any questions at all, let me know in the comments. I'm glad to help you out, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Now, I am Kamikazevondoom. I hope you enjoyed this build video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and let me know in the comment section below what you think. And yeah, have fun everyone. Now tonight, I am doing a survival stream with Bishop Boas. So if you have Division 1 and you are on Xbox, I highly recommend you whipping that out tonight and playing some survival. We're going to be queuing up with all of our viewers and anyone that wants to play against us. So if you want to have a chance to take me down, take Bishop Boas down, who knows, maybe we can even get Sergeant Greybeard to join in, or Rogue Gold, I don't know. We'll see if we get any special guests. But alright everyone, hope you have a good time. Enjoy this build. I know I certainly am. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.